Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. Sweating his ass off over there is Eric Margaret.
It's just beginning. I can't wait to see what it's going to be like an hour from now.
Sweating her tits off over there is Vanessa Williams.
Don't look too close. It's real bad. It's real bad, guys.
I'm sweating my balls off. You guys, we have not just had the hottest day of the year, but like broke all sorts of records.
It's the hottest day Seattle has experienced since probably the beginning of Seattle when it was molten lava.
Oh, I bet you it wasn't called Seattle back then.
Probably not.
Well, you know,
Yeah, but
you get my
in the
point.
100 years of tracking weather, yesterday was the hottest day we have ever had.
Yep.
I clocked 108 while I was out. Did you guys look at what you were doing?
My apartment was 109 on the outside of it. On the
Okay,
inside of
Jesus.
it, I don't know. I was not there. I left.
That's good. I guess I quite hit 111.
111. Fuck.
That's no.
Yeah.
That's unreasonable.
So horrible. It's so weird to walk around inside, and I think you said you hit above 90. We were pushing 90, but it's just like, and Seattle normally doesn't feel humid.
Yeah.
But when it gets really hot like this, suddenly it's like, damn, it's really humid here.
Yeah, I didn't even check the humidity yesterday. I wonder what it was at.
It was
did just
muggy.
feel like, I mean, you walked out then and you were suddenly slapped with the
Hot.
end of a kiss on a hot, wet fist.
It did feel like just somebody's really hot breath just going like right in your mouth. Like, no,
Ew.
I know. It's that bad.
Hey, Heather, how do you like my hot tub?
While you're actually just standing in the middle of a parking lot. I got a bonus to my heat index fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
The Sunday, it was only 109 that day.
Oh,
You know, it
beautiful.
wasn't the hottest day yet.
Uh,
But we just got home from visiting some Venus family was in town. We just got back, and we do have a room air conditioner. And we're like, okay, we're set up in the room. We got the cats in here. We got the TVs we got a little TV in there. We're set. And lights flicker.
no.
And my first thought was, okay, we've blown fuses for this room before. And considering the AC's running thing, then I start to go down the stairs. Boom! And the entire place lit up. I'm like, what the is the house exploding? So unfortunately it slowed me down just enough. And then 5 or 6 more, just huge, crack, 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 flaying things like, and no power. So I went outside, and the transformer that is right in front of our place, probably 40 yards away, blew.
Oh my God.
I wish I would have thought of that at the first pop, because I would have loved to have gone down there and looked out the window and watched it blow up. So 9 hours later, we got our power back.
Oh my God.
Did you just hang at home the whole time waiting for?
We eventually decided, after a few hours, because what they did, that usually Puget Sound Energy is actually really good at getting the power back on,
Yeah.
and also very good at their time estimations. But this time it hit back on at 4. Then at 4 it said back on at 6.
Oh God.
But then when it hit 6 and it said back on at 8,
Oh my God.
like, okay, we're getting in the car, we're sitting in air conditioning, we're driving around for a while. And so we did that for an hour and a half or whatever. And of course, either everything was closed
Yep.
or every restaurant or something you went to was just packed with people.
Yep.
And so we eventually went back, and they were out there working on it. So, oh, hallelujah.
Oh my God.
About 10 o'clock that night, it came back on. And then, of course, all day it's been baking, so it didn't feel cool for... Actually, it never felt cool
Wow.
until today.
Well, it cooled down to 88 degrees, so
Yeah.
20 degrees cooler than yesterday.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying to people. I'm like, it's only 91 right now. That's like 20 degrees. That's the difference between 70 and 50 people. It's amazing.
And normally, this is the kind of day where if you're living in Seattle, going, Jesus, this is the hottest day of the year, isn't it? Now it's like, Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I am too hot to move, but I can think. And that's a huge plus.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well put.
I was laughing a little bit because right before the heat really kicked in, all the power companies were like, don't worry about it. We're going to be fine. Like, no power. We're not going to have power outages, guys. Not even a thing. And I've spent a fair amount of time in the South. And I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid. If you think that there won't be power outages, you're ludicrous.
Yeah.
And sure enough.
Yep. There were some. We don't have, since we only have, what, I think it's 33% into AC
Yeah.
homes.
It could have been worse.
Like the number one least air conditioned city in the country.
Yeah.
So maybe probably pulls a lot less power, but still, it's, come on.
Everybody suddenly has 10 fans
Yes,
going
exactly.
24/7. I know I did.
Well, there's fans going on in here. There's windows open, so
Yeah.
you'll probably hear all the sirens going by
That's right.
and all that.
Thankfully, the sun, like normally the sun is beating down on us while we're
Right.
recording, and now it's not.
It's
We are
not, thank
recording in
goodness.
the middle of the night.
That's right. Because we don't want to miss a single week for you folks.
we're
That's
we're so dedicated. So
Um,
dedicated.
Before I get into anything else, speaking of dedicated and all that stuff, I forgot to mention last week that Will Lau had participated very generously in the Value for Value system.
Aw.
And thank you so much, Will.
Wow, thank
are a
you,
fucking
Will.
rock star.
That's right. Oh, and along those same lines, Bob, or, Bob,
Bob.
has contributed something that we will be cracking open on our last show here before we move to the new Strange Aeons home. So,
Studio, I'd like to call it.
Oh, that's right. We're too professional here, studio.
Aw.
So I just wanted to say thanks a bunch for that, Bob. It looks pretty damn good.
Mhm.
And he did have a little toss out for maybe a underrated space horror flick we might want to check out. Pandorium.
Yeah,
No.
I've seen it.
Maybe
Is that good?
Vanessa and I watch it. Or?
Yeah, and I'll
Okay,
and I'll
cool.
rewatch it. I watched it
Okay.
when it came out. I think it's about 10 years old now.
Okay, cool.
And I remember being okay with it. I didn't love it, but I thought it was okay.
There you go.
It's got
Coming
some space madness going on in it. so-
Ooh.
coming up soon. We tell you your mediocre movie. Thank you.
I'm just glad it wasn't High Life because I will not watch that again.
I
Oh.
know.
Let me make that clear.
You made it clear.
Good.
Hey, Bob, we'll be seeing you in person because we're going to be going
That's
down to
true.
the Lovecraft Film Festival
That's
this
so
year
exciting.
for sure.
When is it happening? What month?
Usually the first weekend in October. I believe.
Yeah,
Sure.
I don't think that
Cool.
has been finalized
Right.
yet, but that's what they're hoping for.
That's right.
That's
Hey, Bob, you should
fantastic.
come up and visit us at CryptoCon.
Yes.
We know that's happening.
To get out of the heat, you guys, I actually went to the movie theater for the first time in
Yay.
15 months or
Oh
whatever.
my
it is.
God.
Well, now I have to go. Damn it.
Congratulations.
And I saw A Quiet Place too.
There we go.
I liked it. Like you, I didn't like it as much as the first one.
Mhm.
And I realized there are some things that happen in these kind of movies. You know, we got to see the creature really at the end of the first one, and
Mhm.
we get to see a lot of the creatures in this one. And it was kind of like, I mean, they're cool looking, but they were way cooler looking when I wasn't sure exactly what they
Sorta
were.
Sure.
Alien to
Yeah.
aliens kind of thing there.
Mhm.
That deaf actress is so good that I'm just like, how do we get these young people who can act like this?
It's shocking because I remember in the first one thinking she was pretty good, although the character was a little bit irritating. And the second one, I was like, this kid is shining.
Fuck, no kidding.
So good. Like just triple her performance. It just
Nice.
absolutely incredible.
And then, now I'm blanking on his name. Is it Killian?
Oh,
Cillian
Murphy? Yeah. Scarecrow.
So interesting to see him in a role where he was a good guy. And
Weird.
I was like, well, when is he going to betray her?
I don't
He's
know.
not. He's a good guy this entire movie.
It's almost, you know what? Extra layer of tension. I'm all in.
And then I'll just say this, not the ending I was expecting.
Yeah.
Oh, well, or the way it ended, and then the credits came up. I was like, what?
Yeah, totally. No, I was like, is there another one?
Well,
What's
clearly there must be a part
Probably.
3.
yeah, I mean, and I will see it if there is, but yeah, it definitely, I was shocked too. I was like, guys, like, okay. I mean, it's not a bad ending at all, but it just didn't bother to do the the kind of sewing up that you might get in a lot of other films.
Exactly.
So
I did realize there were some things that I didn't quite understand, but mostly what I don't understand through both of these movies is why are these creatures here and why do they hate us? They don't seem to eat us. They just kill us.
I thought they ate us.
No.
Oh.
They just run around and tear you apart. But
I figured they were digesting us as they were tearing us apart. But I mean, this one, they kind of show that meteor breaking up or whatever overhead. So I figured maybe they're just like space ants that landed here and they're doing space ant stuff. They can't really help themselves. I don't think they're here to do anything in particular.
well, I think that is a story flaw then.
My biggest complaint about the second one, the most confusing moment was they walk through this train yard, or the girl walks through a train yard, and there's a bunch of shoes, women's shoes, on a platform, and I was like, there's a serial killer in here and he's murdering women and keeping their shoes in a pile. And then much later I realized that was not the case, and it took me a lot of work to figure out what that actually symbolized, and it was fine, but I was like, really threw me for a loop that they like showed a special on that.
I was right there with you, and I was like, fucking Cillian Murphy. Killing women and taking their shoes.
I mean, it would have made sense. I was just waiting. I was like, there's some creepo, horrible human in here, and he's gonna like try to take her shoes. Luckily, she doesn't have heels, so that's a plus.
Well, that's what I watched.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you got to the theater to see it rather than watching it in your living room.
Yes.
Well, I've been watching a couple of different things. Not a lot of super genre stuff, unfortunately. However, I did, since Loki has come out, I've been doing the thing that I did with WandaVision as well, which is going back and rewatching the appropriate Avengers movies.
Nice.
So I started with the first Thor. What a god-awful movie that is.
You shut your mouth. I love that movie.
I thought I loved that movie too. I was wrong.
Okay.
This is the most Dutch shit I've ever seen. They do not have a straight on camera. Like, it's like the tripod broke and they were like, oh, let's roll with it. Like the whole way through.
Wow.
And everything's
Kenneth
bad.
Branagh. You're saying that Kenneth Branagh is a bad
I know.
filmmaker?
He's good when he has to make, he's good when he's making Shakespeare movies, which is all he otherwise really does. Cinderella wasn't that good, yo. Did you see that?
You are a hard woman to please.
I like him as a person. I think he's a great actor. But this
I
movie
love you.
sucked balls.
I'm just not in love with you.
Yes.
You're like a brother, Kenneth. Like a really good brother. It was really, really difficult to sit through. It was incredibly boring, incredibly tedious, and I hated everything about it.
And then you watched Thor: The Dark World, and you were like, "Oh Christ, just
Never
let me
mind.
back into that first movie again."
I know. I did see that in theaters, and I did fall asleep in the first 15 minutes, so I don't know what happened.
Oh, well, that's fine. Go with that.
That's kind of what I'm keeping and holding on to.
Just go to, what is it, Ragnarok?
Ragnarok is amazing, and we all know why. That director is incredible, and he's only done incredible work. So
Challenge accepted. Let's see what
Okay.
shitty thing he's made.
yeah, go into the deep dark areas of it. I promise you will not be sad. Maybe Eagle versus Shark. Did he direct that? Anyway.
I didn't see that one.
All right.
Don't look at me like I'm weird. Come on, we're talking about movies. What'd you watch?
Something from Arrow. Can you believe it?
What?
What is that? I don't know.
What's
what that is.
Arrow? Tell me more.
From 1988, Hellbent. I'm guessing. Have you seen this one? You might.
Is this the one where the guy has to drive into hell?
No,
Okay.
that would have been very interesting. This one is, but it does involve the devil. The devil is played by, remember the cop in The Shield that they put like dog crap in his desk and he was sort of the whiny guy?
Yeah.
He plays the devil in this.
Interesting.
He's pretty good at it. But boy, this is low budget gold. I'm kind of like watching the first 5-10 minutes. I'm going, oh boy, what have I signed up for, man? This isn't Vinegar Syndrome. This is Arrow.
Oh no. Oh no.
But then the storyline is there's this guy in a band and he wants to, of course, be successful. So he ends
Makes
up
a
making a deal with the devil. Yeah.
Mhm.
But when he goes to the club where the devil is, and he walks in, and the set design is batshit crazy. just weird stuff on the walls. Drunk guy at the bar who looks like he's been sitting there for 40 years. Some weird DJ playing pointless, strange music. I'm like, this guy's supposed to be the really successful guy who gets you all pumped up and doing well. The way the movie's put together is so stupidly entertaining. And it is such a painfully 80s looking movie. Everything is garish and bright, and the people are all wearing weird shit that looks like maybe the wardrobe on Miami Vice said, no, this is not going to work. And they rummaged through the trash.
And picked out the
Yeah.
pieces.
There's a group of guys who are going around killing the people that have made deals with the devil because they might have gone bad or something. Kid gets kidnapped, and the wife almost becomes the mom almost becomes the lead in the movie for a little while, who drives you nuts because she doesn't just shoot people at a certain time. It is just fabulous crap. I can't say don't watch it because you really should, because it is just amazing. Directed by Richard Casey. Really, right? No, you haven't heard of him.
No.
No. I was like, no, can't connect dots.
Wait a second. Old Man Casey's boy?
Yes.
Dick? You're saying Dick made this movie? I know him.
Michael DeBronzo convinced me that I needed to watch Abominable, which was going to be my possible snow pick movie.
Sure.
Let me tell you, Eric, this bullshit genre pick of yours this time really gave me issues. And I probably would have picked this except for one scene in the beginning with snow on it. There's no snow in this Yeti movie.
Oh my God, really?
Weird.
It takes place up in the mountains.
Is
But
this the horror, the Hammer movie?
No, that's
Okay.
the Abominable Snowman.
Okay.
This has got Lance Henriksen
Oh,
in
okay.
it.
I know the cover of that one.
Okay, yep.
And it's got a couple of good scenes in it.
Mhm.
Overall, Michael, I didn't love it, but always nice to see Tiffany Shepis in a role where she's
Sure.
not taking her clothes off. So,
Here's a weird Tiffany Shepis note that I didn't know until it popped up like some social media. She doubled for Britney Spears for one of her
Really?
music videos.
oh yeah, I
She's
saw
like the
that.
stand-in or double or
I saw
something.
that
Huh.
show up too. Yeah. So yeah,
Interesting.
which is not to say that I don't like seeing her naked. I just like that she gets offered movie roles where she doesn't have to get naked every time.
Yeah.
That's a big plus. Well, speaking of watching Thor to watch Loki, have either of you watched the most recent Loki?
No, I've only seen the first, what is it, 2 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah, we're on 3 now.
We're on 3.
I saw it.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I didn't love it
Yeah.
until the last 20 minutes, and then I thought it was gold.
It was so confusing. I felt like the pacing was really whiplash, where it was going between like, we're literally sitting here doing nothing and talking, and then we're running because everything around us is exploding. And there was nothing in between throughout the whole episode.
All the talky stuff felt very Doctor Who-ish to
It
me.
did.
Okay,
This whole
good.
episode felt like Doctor Who completely. I was definitely right there with you on that because I was like, you guys, I mean, it's really high budget, well written Doctor Who, but it's still Doctor Who. But I'm really starting to like this sort of female character. I thought they did a really good job of developing a character in a pressure cooker under a very short amount of time. So I feel like I connect with this. I do wish this was across maybe 2 episodes because this had a lot happen in it.
Especially at the end.
But yeah, but at the same time, I bet this is already part of a 2-part piece. So I'd just be breaking it into smaller and smaller bits. So I don't know. It felt like it kind of shifted genres.
One could argue it's part of an 8-part piece.
That's how many
Maybe it
episodes?
should have been like a
just
10-part
assume.
piece.
Okay.
Maybe it should have been a few more pieces. That's my thought.
Wow.
Not enough Owen Wilson.
Well, you know.
Got a lot of
That's
sass in
okay.
you today. This heat.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
so grumpy.
Just go back and watch Bottle Rocket.
Mm.
Oh, good Lord.
Sorry. It's not my favorite.
Anyway, Nosferatu in Venice, also
Uh,
known as Vampire in Venice.
I am not familiar with
You've
this.
seen every movie. This is what's happened. You are out
I'm
of
working on it.
films and you're just digging through the bottom of the barrel going, what else is in here?
This is a Severin
Sure.
disc that I got in one of their box, their group releases.
Mhm.
Also, interestingly, from 1988. But Klaus Kinski reprises his role as Nosferatu.
What?
Well, are you saying that he reprises his role in the way that this is a sequel?
It was supposed to be.
I had no
Oh.
idea.
Kinski's such a dick at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, he's insufferable, I guess, to work with by now.
Yeah.
And he was originally, he didn't want to do the bald thing anymore. He wanted to have long flowing hair and different kinds of teeth,
Oh my God.
which is probably why most places call it Vampire in Venice. It's a crazy movie. It's entertaining and it's really bad, but it's really art. It goes from incredible artsy and cool to really, really dumb.
I'm guessing Werner had
Yeah.
nothing to do
Oh,
with this.
nothing,
Okay.
no.
Okay. I was
The-
like, did Herzog do like half and then walk?
No.
Okay.
He was not. I forgot the name of the director, but the first director got into a fight with Klaus on like day 2 and walked off the set
Oh, sure.
and sued and won to get his entire fee.
Oh
Weren't
my
you
God.
telling me that at some point Werner and Klaus were like thinking about hiring hitmen to kill each other or something like
That
that?
sounds right. Yeah, he calls him his best fiend. They have a real. That's
Really
a documentary
bad.
that he made about their relationship.
They have definitely shown up on set ready to murder
Yes.
one another through I think one of them even had a gun on, what was it, Fitzcarraldo? I don't know. I need to read the
I
book
believe
better.
that was the one.
Yeah.
But so Klaus Kinski ended up directing parts of the film, at least.
Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly.
No. No.
It's shot in Venice, so it's quite nice looking. But I mean, like for example, there's a part where he gets shot with a shotgun, and like this perfect round hole appears in his torso, and the blue effect is sort of fluttering,
Oh, no.
not holding still,
Oh no.
and then it re-engages and becomes flesh again. It's kind of cool.
Hmm.
But the better part though of the disc is not the movie. The movie's fun and interesting, but there's a documentary on it which covers Klaus from like 84 to his death, when he just went over the top. And listening to these directors talk about the stuff he did, like one director was sitting there playing chess with somebody and they wanted to move the angle, coverage. And he's like, no, I will not sit in this chair anymore. You have to figure out some other way to do it. And that director said, you're going to be a ghost. This was not in the script. He was not supposed to be dead. And he's just like, you're going to be a ghost. And Klaus thought that was so brilliant
Oh my God.
that he loved the guy, at least for, a day. And, but I think it was that same one, they only had him for 3 days. And he's like, we're just going to keep shooting because I love this so much. We shoot till my scenes are done. And they shot 30 hours straight until Klaus passed out.
Oh my God.
And then they were done. They still had like 2 scenes, but he never came back.
Wow.
And he's doing shit that would get him in big trouble now, like kind of sexually assaulting women while they're in the middle of the scene.
Oh my God.
The sound guy was talking about something he was doing to her that only he could see because him and the cameraman could see.
Oh
Because
my
the way it was
God.
set up, they were blocking that part of the shot from other people in the crew.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's like,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Like that's a real fear factor because, the female or whoever else is in the scene, if they say, like, if they cut it and they go, oh my God, he's fucking touching me, then you've ruined, hundreds of dollars worth of production in those few minutes. So the pressure to not say anything is huge. And therefore the person's getting away with whatever it is they want to do.
she got up and ran out of the room.
Oh, that's good.
And
I'm really
crying
glad.
and stuff. But
I'm glad she was able to
So,
do that
yeah,
because that's
so-
a horrible situation to be in.
But that documentary about him is the movie's cool and fun, but that doc is so good. And so
Wow. Wow. Huh.
The-
I always assumed Herzog was a little bit of a dick, but now
He
I'm
is,
just like,
That's available on Tubi, and I know at least one of you is going to recognize this. Night Flight.
Oh, man. I keep thinking I need to get that Night Flight channel for $4 a month or whatever. Did you
what
ever
is,
watch it?
no, what is this? Is it just about like movies on airplanes?
Night Flight was a
Nice.
show that would come on, about 8 p.m. or something. It was
Yeah.
a Midwest show, and it was on the USA Network back when that was
Yeah.
a big deal because there were 3 channels and then
Yep.
a couple of cable channels. They would just play like whatever, weird fucking videos, and then have a movie, and then the first Power Rangers stuff I ever saw was stuff that they had on there that was dubbed to say really horrible stuff
Oh
while
my
they were
God.
fighting, and it was hilarious. And Gilbert Gottfried, I think, had
Yeah.
a show on there.
And they had a host.
Wow.
They did like some lady, I think, who hosted.
Oh, that was
movies
Rhonda
and shit.
Shear.
Yeah,
Because I
Rhonda
think
Shear.
that Gilbert hosted it one night and she hosted it the next
Wow.
night or something like that. It seemed
Whoa.
like it was just a weekend thing, but it was a blast. And now they have
Wow.
a channel where they have brought all that shit back.
Wow. Is it just like the old stuff being replayed, or is it like new content in the same vein?
I
I
do
don't
not
know.
believe it is new
Okay.
content. No.
Gotcha. Huh.
I'm glad you reminded me of that. I'm going to make a note and see if I can afford it now that I've got a new place to live in.
Yeah.
Okay, but before I do that, how about we take a little break and then we will come back and talk about glorious snow and winter
Oh,
weather.
I wish.
Chilly breeze.
Who's the kid with all the friends hanging around? Kid with the snowman, snow cone. Put an ice cube in and got a snow cone out. Kid with the snowman, snow cone.
The Snowman Snow Cone machine comes with 5 different flavors.
Give me orange. I want lime. You're the kids are looking sweet and cool. Kids with the snowman, snow cone.
You can make 5 different kinds of snow cones with the Snow Cone machine from Hasbro.
We have returned, and this time, Eric, the genre pick was yours.
That's right. I figured summer's coming. I didn't realize how hard it was coming on us,
It's
but
here,
it's here,
sir.
and we're all hot and sticky because of it. Anyways,
Sure, let's just assume that's why we're hot and sticky.
Oh my God. Can I leave? Do we have
quickly run. So I thought, let's talk about wintry movies and snow movies and what the hell. So that is what we did.
Think cold.
Yes.
Think cold thoughts.
We are starting with 1992's Winter Beast.
Is this like a new release that Severn has just finally
Vinegar.
released?
Vinegar
Vinegar?
Syndrome.
Okay, I have heard of this, but I've
Nice.
never seen it.
Vinegar Syndrome did this box set. They've actually got some other ones kind of like this, but this is a group of 3 films. I don't remember the other 2 off the top of my head, but they're they call them local horror. So they're homegrown horror where it's people lived there, made their movie, and who knows what might have happened with it. And this one is films from 3 different areas. And this one, I don't remember where it's from. Hopefully it's in my notes. If not, oh well, suffice to say it's local somewhere. It is, I believe it might show up on YouTube in some form. Otherwise, I could not find any place else you could watch it other than on the Vinegar Syndrome release. Homegrown Horrors, Volume 1. The Rotten Tomatoes, there was no score from critics, but 60 from the audience.
I like that.
And if you think I could find a budget or a box office for that, you are sorely mistaken.
Remind me, I think I spoke over you. What's the year?
92,
92. Okay.
sort of. That's when it had its first original release. The director was Christopher Tice. It's his only film. The writer, Joseph Calabrese. He also did a short film called The Lottery, but I'm not sure if it's based on the Shirley Jackson short. And also Christopher was one of the writers. Starring Tamar Morgan, only film. Mike Margie, only film. Charles Maka, who was on-screen bass player for the Polka King, uncredited.
I don't know. We got some guy. Who cares?
Seeing a trend here?
I was going to say the casting director was like, we got to get this guy. He was in the Polka King.
It starts off oddly uncomfortable. So, what the hell kind of movie is this? Where he's sort of sticking his fingers in and playing with the wounds on his body.
Ooh.
And the effects aren't great, but they're effective. They're good enough to where you're like, ew. And so, okay. And then the first of several stop motion creatures show up.
Yes. Oh, that's exciting.
That's what separates this movie. This one kind of reminded me of a flexible version of those. Do you remember the models, the Visible Man and Woman models?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see those? It was basically all the organs of a person, and the model on the outside had clear skin.
Oh, crazy.
It sort of looked like that.
That sounds gross.
Yes. One of the actors in this has a certain level of charm and some talent.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, it's not necessarily the lead, but everybody in this movie. I love a low budget movie that's filled with sincerity, where the actors and the performers don't seem uncomfortable about what they're doing. They just may not be that good at it, but they're just going for it and having fun because it's probably a whole bunch of friends hanging out just making a movie, which is large, not entirely, but largely what this was. They do deliver multiple deliverance jokes in the first 10 minutes.
Oh, God. Classy.
Because it is like Park Rangers or something.
No.
And then comes another stop motion woods critter. This is then it was shot in the late 80s. So this is we have to have a naked lady scene. So a woman takes off her shirt for some reason. And then the stop motion creature comes outside and reaches in the window. And you see her, it comes in, and it pulls her out, and then she's the clay. She's the little clay figure in its hand.
That's so good.
And so I was like, okay, that's great. A guy who, I'm not entirely certain who he is at this point, but he's being the mayor of Jaws kind of person. Well, we can't close the hill. We don't know what's going on. They're trying to tie it into native spirits and legends from the areas. I'm not sure if these are accurate. But they are living on apparently the Indian gateway to hell. And I don't believe Native Americans have a hell.
I was going to say, that seems a little iffy.
Not a Christian hell. At least.
Exactly. Yes, which is sort of how it's made out to be. More stop motion guy. This one kind of looks like a raisin, but it's still awesome. And so now the mayor's like, oh, well, we gotta shut this down. And next, it's like, okay, is this a zombie? Is this a mummy? What is this thing attacking a lady in the graveyard in the woods who shows up for like a scene or two and is never seen again? So, right. And the two guys have one of their many chats where they just sort of talk. And honestly, sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's just expedition. Expedition. They just go on a talking expedition. So it turns out the mayor owns the local lodge or whatever he is. I just called him the mayor. And he hired the mummy zombie thing to kill this lady and bring her back to his lodge where he strings her up. And she's got wounds like in her torso, and he's sort of playing with those like the guy at the beginning was. And like, what the hell is going on here?
Sounds like somebody's fetish.
And he leaves her hanging up at what is obviously supposed to be the front desk of the lodge.
Okay.
And then he goes off, and we have a massive Lynchian style weird scene where he puts on a clown mask and he puts on this very weird children's song and he's dancing around. And then the two park rangers or cops, whatever they are, show up and the lady's still hanging there. So they're always, well, something's wrong. And great little scene where they need to break a window to get into a place, but as soon as he hits the window, it's obviously the door isn't even closed. The door swings open a little bit while he's breaking the windows. I'm glad you kept that in. Let's see, what the hell's going on in the movie? Still something I'm thinking. And for some reason, then the guy who is wearing the mask bursts into flames.
Oh.
And then they go off, actually a really cool location. I don't know what the buildings were, but they kind of looked like early prairie living kind of buildings. Not early, but from early 20th century. And then we get another stop motion critter. Now this one looks significantly better. I'm kind of like, okay, this is cool. And he goes after and he kills one of them in this great little scene. And then a giant stop motion chicken shows up.
Yes.
Not sure why.
Unnecessary. Just you could film the chicken in a certain way in frame, but I'm loving the commitment to stop motion.
Exactly, yes. And then the final confrontation with the final stop motion critter uses a flare gun. Like it's like a repeating flare gun almost. He must shoot it like 5 or 6 times. But it seems to work. Oh, good. I did write it down. This was filmed in Newbury, Massachusetts. Say that as you like. The tagline when it was released on video, Evil Dead meets Northern Exposure.
What? Wow. Okay.
Shot on 16 and 8mm. There's a totem pole monster and a skeleton head that's ripped out of a man's stomach. These are both props that were borrowed from the Dokken music video, Burning Like a Flame.
Ah, yeah.
So somebody on the set had access to that and did something with that.
Access.
That's right,
In
yes.
quotes. Rock and roll.
I noticed that.
I was seeing the horn.
The filming started in 86, but then was kind of abandoned, or depending on where you read about it, either abandoned or flat out forgotten. And they shot 2 scenes, and the rest of it was shot in 1989.
Wow. Okay.
In, of course, a few days.
Yeah.
Which is why I think they're all friends, all involved, because they didn't have character changes. They didn't have to. They had the same actors.
Oh,
do the whole
wow.
thing.
Okay.
Apparently, they actually had sets. It looks like, well, we have this place. Let's jam a desk here in the corner. But they acquired the use of an old abandoned theater and built sets to be the lodge and to be the guy's office and stuff. And it's like, they're not great, but they're committed. They needed wind or something, so they've got this weird covered window, and you see somebody obviously behind it moving a tree branch up and down the window. So the producer and director both admit it's really hard to know what the movie is about. The stop action was not part of the original film and was added in when they realized many aspects of what they were shooting was just not going to work at all.
Oh, no.
The DP guy, though, was an effects guy from Disney.
Oh, okay.
That's probably why the shooting was
Kind of good.
I mean, there's no way you could shoot that fast. It'd be great, but it was good. The first day of shooting, the cast and crew were driven up in 2 cars. That's how big of a cast and crew it was. But one of the cars got lost, and apparently the director, who must have apologized profusely because they kept working on it, lost his shit and attacked the driver of the other car.
Wow.
Whoa.
Oh.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Oh, so the reason the chicken monster and the lizard monster at the end look better, Mike Johnson, the director of Corpse Bride, made those.
What? Why? He was just around. He was like, oh, I could make some.
Well, this was well before The Corpse Bride.
Yes,
Yeah.
a long time before that. And there's a special extra feature on there of an interview with Simon Barrett, the writer of You're Next, The Guest,
Oh my God.
Dead Birds,
What?
Holy shit.
because he loves this movie.
Oh my God.
He said after a dozen watches, he's still not sure what is really happening in the movie. He makes a very compelling argument that the movie actually makes a lot of good choices for good reasons. And he's right. Like I was saying with the branch.
Yeah.
They said, you know what? We need this look. Let's figure out how to do it. So they did it. Or the guy, I want this window broken. I don't care if the door doesn't lock. let's just break a window. They go for it. Like, I can't fault that. So having been involved in many low budget movies, he's very understanding of the people involved in making this one. They deliver what he promised, even when it doesn't really work. The film actually inspired him to add twists and turns in the movies in any way he likes, just because he can actually write well. They end up working, but he says this movie's part of the reason he loves doing twists and turns. So,
Wow.
Winter Beast, available from Vinegar Syndrome and probably on YouTube.
This smacks of you picking this genre because you wanted to watch this movie.
You are correct. I was looking at my movies behind me or from look and go, well, which of these haven't I seen? This looks interesting.
Oh my God. Well,
And to be honest, there's not a lot of winter in it. There are several scenes that are wintry, like some guy goes down a cliff that's covered in ice and like, what are you doing? But the Winter Beast is more in the name, but there's good amount of winter in it. There's enough. So.
I mean, it takes place in the winter, but there's no snow.
Weird how that can happen in a movie.
Exactly, yes.
Well, it's interesting that you picked this genre because it was perfect for my film that I've been holding on to for like at least a year, waiting for a moment to bring it out. And it has an extremely similar story behind it, in that the only way to see this movie is on YouTube. There is no distribution for it. It also has no budget info, and that is the 1988 film Iced. Iced.
Never heard of it.
No, I don't know exactly how I've heard of it. I know my friend Micah introduced it to me at some point. I don't know how he heard about it. It is crazy. But yeah, so Rotten Tomatoes, unsurprisingly, no critic info. However, audience score of 27%.
Woo.
So
All right.
this little hidden gem is ready to rock and roll. I mean, the cast and crew, it's very, like I said, it's very similar to your piece in that it seems like a labor of love. I don't know whose love. I don't know why. There's unfortunately no Vinegar Syndrome treatment, and I hope to God there will be one someday because I need to understand better what this is about. But directed by Jeff Whitney. He's mostly a writer on some kids' TV stuff. Like he did a little bit of Animaniacs, some Extreme Dinosaurs, Mimi's Alive, Street Sharks, and Cow and Chicken. He also directed, which I haven't seen yet, but I do now own. It just arrived the other day from Vinegar Syndrome, Beyond the Door 3. And he also did Illegal Alien, was on his IMDb pictures of things you should know him from. Written by Joseph Allen Johnson, mostly actually did acting. He wasn't as much of a writer. In fact, I believe this is his only writing credit. He did Slumber Party Massacre. He was in Berserker, Grad Night, Hollywood Hot Tub, and Little Big League. He stars in this film as well as the character Alex, the son of the hotel chalet owner. So I'm wondering if he wrote this movie for himself. I kind of have a feeling he did. Produced by Michael Bieber, who also is not really a producer. He was, he is, but he usually does special effects producing over at ILM, and he was involved in Speed 2, and only has 3 kind of producing credits that are more films like Soldiers of Fortune and In Broad Daylight. Robert Siebert will also help produce it, and he only did this in a film called Berserker. Just like this fine crew, the cast is equally minimal. I will only mention that it's kind of like an ensemble. You sort of feel like you're watching an episode of Friends that has gone terribly wrong, is not well written, and was not shot properly.
As opposed to...
I don't have a comeback for that. It's too hot.
It was just too obvious.
And it was right there. It was right there. So I'm just going to mention the couple of people who had any kind of anything. Joseph Allen Johnson, as I mentioned a moment ago, the writer, stars in this. We also have Deborah DeLiso as Trina, the main girl. She's been in 19 films, including Slumber Party Massacre, Sledgehammer, Dr. Caligari, and she voices a bunch of things, including StarCraft Brood War. She now does an occasional short film and recently was in a documentary as a dominatrix. And I was very confused as to if she was doing a recreation part or if she has just had a huge lifestyle change. We also have Doug Stevenson, who plays the prankster friend Corey. He's been in 13 things, including The Prowler, Search for Tomorrow TV series, and lots of one-off TV like Murder, She Wrote and Days of Our Lives.
Not Friends? Come on, somebody had to be on Friends.
I know, you would think. No, this film's too old. They're not hot enough by the time the 90s roll around. Lisa Loring as Jeanette, who plays the slutty, desperate friend. Ice is one of her last roles. She was in As the World Turns, but only 7 episodes of that. Savage Harbor. But really, her best known role was when she was a child actor in The Addams Family as Wednesday Addams.
Oh, shit.
Fun fact, she does remain topless for huge portions of this movie. So.
When was this movie made?
1988.
What the hell's...
What Addams Family could she have been in?
So it was like an old black and white Addams Family.
The Addams Family?
The original one?
That's what it says.
Well, she'd be... How old is she in this
She's
film?
probably... She could have been in her 40s.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
That tracks. All right.
Yep. Dan, like I said, this was one of the last...
Does she have weird-looking tits? I know there are a lot of weird-looking tits
okay.
out there, Vanessa.
This is a VHS transfer onto YouTube. I couldn't tell you.
Look,
they seem fine. No, they actually seem in pretty good shape. I highly recommend her boobs in this movie. two nipple stars would watch her undress again. Good job, Wednesday. Don't hate it. I'm not the person who should be talking about this. I don't know what to say. She's not ugly.
Back to the line you said.
I know that, but I can't uphold that momentum. And last but not least, Dan Smith plays Jeff the bad guy. He plays in this movie for about 10 minutes. He's been in 6 things. He now does bit roles, including Early Edition, Hitcher in the Dark, and he does a lot of writing for kids' TV, like Get Ed, Abby Hatcher, and Abby Hatcher, the Fuzzly Catcher. The plot of this movie, as you may have guessed, is it's pretty exciting. Okay, it's the 80s, guys. A group of friends are at a ski resort. 2 guys, Corey and Jeff, are fighting for the attention of Trina. Now, Corey and Jeff keep going back and forth on these ski races, kind of challenging each other, trying to win the affections and impress Trina. But unfortunately for Jeff, he keeps losing. So he does one kind of final challenge to Corey. They take off, go up to the slopes, and race each other again. And of course, Corey wins mightily. Jeff is incredibly angry. He basically blows off all the nice gestures his friends are making, like, hey man, don't worry about it, it's no big deal. And he's like, no, I skied the Alps. You guys, I am better.
Was it Frank Stallone in this world?
He then goes and huddles off in the corner of a bar with a drink and is talking, possibly to himself, possibly to somebody off screen. We don't know. He's ranting. He then decides that he is furious and in a mad rant, goes off skiing in the middle of the night by himself with a storm coming in. Of course, he makes a leap off in the middle of the night of this cliff and dies on the ground below.
Wow.
So,
Short film.
4 years later, yes, that's how we continue. Corey and Trina, who were kind of pushed together through this incident, are now in love and married. They are invited to special invitation to try out this cool new ski chalet. Is it chalet or chalet? Ski place. Which is
Kelly, would you like to go in there?
No, I'd like to hear you continue to say it.
Shallot?
Chalet.
Chalet. Which is looking for buyers for their condo units. So they're offering for people to come on down and try it out, and they're hoping to hard sell them into these units, especially people who they know are in the skiing community. So they can't pass up this free trip. They have no intention of buying this place, but they want to get some fresh powder and bring along their flirty friend Janet, aka Wednesday Addams, along for the ride.
Yeah.
When they arrive at this chalet condo situation, they're shocked to see their old pal Carl is there, who's their kind of prankster friend. He hides in the attic until somebody comes. I don't know how he knew anyone else was coming, but and then surprises them in a very weird way. Don't worry about it. Slowly but surely, the rest of their crew from that incident 4 years ago arrive. Corey and Trina are a boring, hot married couple who show up. Carl is just super addicted to Coke and likes to prank everybody and hit on Wednesday. And Diane and John...
It's creepy when you say it like that.
Diane and John, a married couple trying to mend their relationship while John belittles and analyzes Diane to death. He's a psychiatrist, but imagine a hot blonde guy from Baywatch, but with a sweater vest and glasses. They just dressed the teens up to make them look like old serious people, and it does not play well at all. It really does look like somebody just shotgun blasted a costume on all these people. 40-year-old, go. All right, get off the sweater vest. All right, I'm going to be serious now. So they settle in and wait to endure the sales pitch from Alex, another hot blonde guy who's definitely not difficult to distinguish from the other hot blonde guys in this movie. He's the rich son of the chalet owner and is taking this on as a challenge to impress his father by selling all these condos and doing a good job. Most of this film is a drama-soaked weekend filled with relationship woes between married couples fighting. Carl is busy trying to hook up with Jeanette, Wednesday, who is really into Alex, hot blonde writer of this movie. And Jeanette is worrying about Eddie, her boyfriend, also somewhere off because he has not arrived and she thinks he might be arriving, but not really sure. And Trina and Corey seem fine and boring. But of course, all is not as it seems. Someone is watching them through broken ski goggles. We get broken ski goggle vision multiple times, so we know this is the case. We're not really sure who because they're all bundled up. This entity is following them. They also find a sinister note in the condo, as well as a newspaper clipping from Jeff's accident from 4 years before. The group start to question why they are all there. And when they discover that Jeff himself submitted their names to Alex for the trial weekend, they freak the hell out. Dun, dun, dun. Is Jeff alive? Is he here for vengeance? We'll have to find out. Eddie,
Can I ask you a short question?
Yeah,
on something?
of course.
One of the ladies in this movie was in a show called, how could you not mention, Tit?
I must have skimmed through that one for some reason. There were like 8 people in this movie, and none of them are really known for anything. But do you know which character she was?
The Deborah DeLiso.
Well, appropriate because they probably were shown in this film. I don't know if any of the females remain top covered throughout the film, but that's fine. So we find out more about what is going on with this mystery killer when Eddie, the abusive boyfriend that the slutty girl is trying to call and can't get a hold of, is actually making his way up to their condo when suddenly he takes a wrong turn and pushes his car into a giant snow embankment. But it's okay because right off the side, there is a snowplow waiting menacingly. He's like, oh, cool. The snowplow is going to totally dig me out. I'm going to go stand in front of it. And of course, the snowplow just slowly approaches him and he does not get out of the way. And then he is murdered by the slow moving snowplow. It's a pretty majestic death. Not going to lie. And of course, slowly but surely, one by one, each of these people are murdered in sort of hilarious ways. Jeanette randomly dies in a hot tub. I'm not sure why. John is killed by a ski pole through the back of his neck when he gets in his car to drive away. So that looks really cool, actually. And my favorite murder is Diane, who is murdered by a giant icicle that's just kind of ripped off the side of a roof and just plunged into her. It's really good.
Nice.
Trina ends up being our final girl. And spoiler alert for anybody planning on watching this film, she ends up calling Alex for help and not 911 and not police. And I don't know why, but she calls Alex, the hot condo owner guy, to come on down and help her out because she knows that Jeff is going to kill her next. There's no one else left alive. But of course, it's not Jeff. It's Alex. Alex is the killer. The writer of the movie, maybe, is actually a triple threat. Actor, leading star, writer. Come on, man.
And murderer.
And murderer.
You always got to love the writer-director that makes himself a killer or a rapist in a movie.
It's so good. It's like, why is this guy here? Like, what is he doing? And like, why is he weirdly attractive and has a lot of lines and scenes he shouldn't have? Okay, cool. No big shakes. So what happened is Jeff, when he was angry and talking in that bar, was actually talking to Alex. Alex was an old friend of him back from when he used to ski the Alps. And he actually chased after Jeff when he was in a huff trying to get away from his friends in the middle of the night. Sorry, this is really hard to say with a straight face. So he followed Jeff as Jeff plunged off the side of that cliff. He also tumbled down and he lost a leg. So now suddenly he has a false leg, which we don't find out about until Trina tries to stab him in the leg. And then it's like thunk, and it's just like a knife sticking out of it for no reason. And then, of course, he tells us this whole story. His father lost all respect for him, and he had to make it back somehow, which is why this whole condo thing is happening. But his dad still doesn't love him. 5 years later.
Holy cow.
Oh, good Lord.
Yes.
This movie is 9 years long.
I know. It's incredible. So Alex is, of course, he makes a giant fall and dies. But 5 years later, we see Trina and Corey. Corey somehow did survive. Trina is there with him. They have their two beautiful kids making a snowman in the yard. They call for them to come into dinner. The kids turn and leave, and suddenly a skier jumps out of the snowman they were building. Freeze frame. End of film.
So, what movie did you see?
This sounds like the producers set out to make the stupidest movie ever, but then ran out of money.
You know, it feels a little like that too. But it is one of those films that's so bad it's good. Like, it is absolutely that category. Like, everything is wrong. Nothing makes sense. They are all trying very hard, but it's awful, but really entertaining.
Yes, but does it have a lot of Dutch angles?
No, it does
That's
not.
why you like it.
Let me get this straight. At the very end, they're building a snowman,
Yes.
and then they get called away from him, and bursting out of the snowman they were building is this skiing guy.
Absolutely. Is the killer that it was dead 4 or 5 years previous that we saw die and just laid there in the snow dead.
It's the freeze frame that makes it all.
The freeze
come
frame makes
together.
it why it's okay.
I hate this episode.
It's a really weird episode. I will admit that. It's like a weird dream episode. What I like about this is that it has ski racing. It's set in the 80s. It has really bad 80s synth movies, but really good deaths. What?
Really bad synth movies.
I'm sorry, music.
Damn it.
Sorry.
That would have been cool.
The commitment to the busted ski goggles POV is really strong. They like go for it, and it's really bad looking. The fake leg twist was like pure magic, and I love that. Dislike, a lot of exposition. They do spend time literally reading letters. They talk out all the facts. Alex is an incredibly bad actor, shockingly. Nothing happens for a long time, and then at the very end, you just get all the deaths piled up together, and that's really kind of unfortunate. And also, unfortunately, the deaths don't fit any of the characters. None of the deaths happen in an interesting way for the personalities they set up. I don't know why Jeanette dies alone in a hot tub, shirtless.
I know.
Well, yeah, as I say, I think I know why.
But I mean, other than yes, but like there's so much character buildup, and I'm like, why didn't you do any of that? Like, it's fine.
Character buildup.
I mean, they spend a lot of time talking about who they are. I just didn't spend any time doing that. Tagline for this movie: a downhill vacation becomes a nightmare of terror. Get off the hill before you get iced. And
Holy crap, that's as bad as the movie sounds.
And also,
Oh my God.
first he chills them, then he kills them.
Okay, there you go.
Which I really like, except for he never chills them. So I'm not sure where that comes from.
Shit.
There aren't a lot of other fun facts. I have random things I found out about this written out. I will say the writer of this movie / Alex, Joseph Allen Johnson, has the world's saddest and most honest IMDb write-up I've ever seen. It just goes into about how he was a failing actor in LA. So he moved to Italy, and then he ended up doing a bunch of English dubs for 3 years. So then he decided to get into screenwriting, which he failed at, especially after Iced. So he moved to Florida to take care of his ailing parents, where he acted in the Early Bird Dinner Theater Group, as well as starring in his own one-man show as Edgar Allan Poe. He died at age 62.
Jeez.
I don't know who wrote this, but it's
Thanks.
so honest.
He wrote it. The real twist is he's not
Still
dead at all.
alive.
He's still writing shitty movies.
I wouldn't actually be that shocked if that was the case. Also, this movie appears on Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst on YouTube. So just be aware. Maybe that's how I found it. I don't know.
I do fully endorse you continuing to embrace the concept of it's so bad it's good.
Sure.
We will get
I'm
you
trying.
some Bruno
I'm
Mattei movies someday.
I'm getting it. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying really hard. I just know I've seen this film at least 3 times.
Wow.
Only once sober. But man,
Nice.
very good. Very good stuff.
All right. And your shitty feeling about this episode.
I can't wait to not ever watch that, Vanessa.
It's so good.
But I will search out for Wednesday's tits.
Yes. You'll have to watch at least like 3 minutes of film then. So.
Yeah, I hate this episode.
Too
Oh,
goddamn
man.
hot. These movies aren't wintry enough.
My movie has snow falling in every single scene.
There you go.
It is from 2018, and it is called I Still See You.
Everyone remembers where they were that day. The day of the event. We were only 50 miles from Ground Zero. The event took people we cared about, but it also left a part of them behind. Remnants.
Well, there's a lot we still don't understand. They might be playing out moments of their life, even their own death. But no matter what, they can't communicate with you. They can't touch.
What's up with you and Ghost Boy? Ghost Boy? Kirk Wayne. He's like obsessed with REMs.
I've seen you in class. You have more questions than some people seem to. You're awake.
I saw this new remnant. Help me figure out who this rem is.
Why do you care? What makes him so special?
I think you might want to hurt me.
He's a killer.
When we die, we leave an echo of ourselves behind. These echoes, they can become doorways through which a person can reach back and touch the living. What the hell just happened? I'm afraid afraid you don't have much time. In a world where the dead walk among the living, nothing is as it seems.
Dun, dun, dun.
Budget not available, but if I had to guess, 20 or 30 million dollars. This movie looks like it cost a lot of money.
Oh.
Damn.
Box office, $1.1 million worldwide.
Ooh, that did not pay off.
Rotten Tomatoes critics, 8%. Audience, 55.
Whoa. Whoa.
Directed by Scott Spear, who has done a ton of music videos for Ashley Tisdale. He also
Yeah.
directed Step Up Revolution and
Yeah.
a movie called Endless, which has a very similar premise to this.
Okay.
Written by Jason Fuchs, who wrote
Jeez.
Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
Oh.
Ice Age Continental Drift, was a producer of It Chapter 2, and is an actor in that and 26 other film credits.
Wow.
And it is based on the YA novel by Daniel Waters.
Uh-oh.
It stars the ridiculously attractive Bella Thorne, who is a singer and actress. She was in the Scream TV series, The Babysitter, Killer Queen, and Assassination Nation. It also stars Richard Harmon, who was in Grave Encounters 2, 89 episodes of The 100, which is what I kind of recognize him from.
Mm.
And in a movie I'm looking forward to seeing, hopefully Crypticon will be showing it, Puppet Killer by Lisa Ovies. Is that going to screen?
I'm not sure if we're going to be able to. It depends on, it's already owned. It's already got distribution, so.
And then it also stars Dermot Mulrooney, who you would know from Young Guns, My Best Friend's Wedding, The Grey, 23 episodes of Shameless, and literally hundreds of other appearances on film and television. Okay, this is what you call high concept.
Oh.
I don't know how they were able to pitch this, and unless Bella Thorne read the book or something and said, fuck yeah, I need to make this. We're introduced to high schooler Veronica, who is sitting at the breakfast table with her parents, and her dad's reading the paper, and her mom's talking to her and everything, and then Veronica's like, are we just not going to acknowledge that dad is sitting right here? And then he suddenly kind of disappears in a wisp of smoke.
Oh.
And we find out that 10 years earlier, an explosion at a laboratory in Chicago where they were experimenting with a particle accelerator ends up killing thousands and thousands of people. But indistinguishable. Vanessa, help me out here.
Indistinguishable?
Thank you. From humans, there are these ghostly specters of the victims of this event, and they have begun haunting the world as what they call remnants that just briefly show up, repeat certain actions, and then disappear.
Whoa. That sounds cool.
The tagline for this movie is, what if your whole world was haunted?
Oh.
And so
sure.
what's happening is that this is the world of this movie. There's thousands of ghosts wandering around all the time. They can't interact with us. They don't acknowledge us, anything like that. You dig?
I'm with you.
Okay. So
Where's the snow?
when Veronica comes out of the shower one morning and there's a ghost in her bathroom that looks at her in the mirror and then writes "run" in the fog on her mirror, you can understand why she's a little freaked out, because they're not supposed to do this. Ronnie, they call her Ronnie because she's cool. Ronnie convinces this new classmate, Kirk, to help her figure out who the ghost is. He's super into the remnants, and he is apparently much smarter than all of the other scientists because he doesn't believe they've been telling us the truth about what's going on.
Yeah,
just like COVID.
And,
sounds about right.
They discover that the name of this ghost is Brian, and that he was suspected of having abducted and murdered a pastor's daughter. They visit the pastor, who tells them she doesn't know who Brian is, but adds that wait a second. She doesn't know who Brian was. Oh, she doesn't know who Brian was before this, but adds that kid, Brian, killed himself on the day after her daughter disappeared. So she also is of the mind that this kid killed her daughter.
Hmm.
After receiving a phone call from the pastor, the school principal summons Kirk, the weirdo kid who knows all this stuff, to his office to ask about his investigation into the girl's death. And then later at the school basketball game, Ronnie sees visions of this Brian ghost, like in the crowd looking at her. And then she like kind of rushes her way over there and he's not there. But then she sees him over here. So she's kind of rushing her way over that way. And then all of a sudden, the principal's body falls through the big huge skylight and dead onto the court, onto the basketball court. Everybody's screaming. It's like, okay. So they end up connecting Brian to the deaths of 2 more young women. And through their investigation, they find out that you can witness one of these women's death over and over in the no-go zone that is Chicago now, where the collider was located. So that's a no-go zone. People are not allowed in there. It's all chained off and everything. And they sneak into the zone, and they find that this is where the movie gets pretty fucking cool for a hot second. There's just thousands of ghosts milling about and doing like daily things and everything, and they're like trying to wander through them and not touch them, because every time they touch one of them, it disappears in a wisp of smoke, and it's pretty cool scene. But you also start realizing what's going on here, because there's people from, I guess this would have been 2008 when the collider exploded. There's people from 2008, and yet there's also people from generations earlier than that. You see people from the 50s wandering around here too. Whoa. And then you see people in a covered wagon.
Whoa.
And all this stuff, and you're realizing, oh, there's something else going on here. There's some kind of dimensional crossover or whatever. And they end up sneaking their way into this area where the girl was killed, where there's literally hundreds of real humans who have snuck in here. And this is like live entertainment, where they all watch this girl go through her last steps as she's being chased by this killer. We never get to see what the killer is, only her. It's a pretty cool scene. The movie gets a very bad case of explosive diarrhea and shits the bed over and over again from here on out.
Oh, no.
Kirk is taken into custody after the police find a gun in his locker. Ronnie goes to her teacher, Dermot Mulroney, for help, and he confides that Kirk was expelled from his previous school for possessing a firearm. And Kirk tries to explain to Ronnie that the new gun was planted, but she doesn't believe him. Meanwhile, there is now a countdown going on for some reason, because the ghost of Brian is going to kill Ronnie on this certain date, her birthday, unless she can find a way to keep herself safe. And the movie just spirals into a bunch of bullshit that I was like, fuck, for a minute, this got super interesting. And then it was like, yeah. It's really awful. Right up your alley, Vanessa.
What?
Teen angst up the ass.
I do like teen angst, but I don't like bad movies.
No, you do.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me rewind here.
A little bit of trivia. I couldn't find shit about this movie, quite honestly, except for that $1.1 million box office was interesting to me. It got even more interesting when I saw that the U.S. and Canadian gross total $1,359.
Whoa.
Opening weekend in the U.S. and Canada, $815.
They didn't release it.
And then the gross worldwide was this 1.6 million. So it sold to a bunch of foreign property or distributors and it made some money over there. I don't know why it was not released here. I have a feeling that the film company or the distributor or somebody realized, holy shit, we have a real turd on our hands here, and let's just release this straight to video. And somewhere in the contract, it required that it play in a theater before they could do that or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking.
Here you go.
Yeah, it could be, or the only other thing I could think is maybe a festival. Maybe it played at a festival and sold that much sales and tickets.
It could have. This does not feel like a festival film.
Sure.
But I suppose, one of the big ones was looking for
Fantastic
Bella
Fest
Thorne to show up and walk the red carpet or something. Maybe. I did find this interesting piece of trivia. In 2019, Bella Thorne directed a short film for Pornhub.
What?
Called Her and Him, which was a sexually explicit reimagining of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. While I could find no Rotten Tomatoes,
Oh my God.
it currently has a 3.9 rating on IMDb. I'll just say this, Eric. Our film has a 5.4 on IMDb, so we got that going for us.
Nice.
Oh
That's
my God.
surprisingly high, actually, on IMDb.
Whoa.
I was surprised at that.
The movie looks like $1 million. It's competently acted. It's stupid, but when has that ever stopped a movie from being released in theaters?
Yeah.
So it's really strange.
I'm shocked it is not even like a Netflix semi-hit or something. It just feels like even if it's not great after a certain point, the premise is strong enough. The actors are strong enough.
This is one of those movies that I was just kind of mildly hating, but then actively hated when it had that cool moment, and then failed to follow through on that. And I was like, fuck. Well, okay. I mean, we do start learning some other stuff, like these ghosts are not just ghosts. So
Sure.
we can start kind of interacting with them, things like that. So she gets a little bit of closure on her whole thing with her dad and all of that stuff. But otherwise, it's just like, boy, you had a chance to do something interesting with this. I wonder if the YA novel is anything like this, and if it, got sold and then got torn apart and turned into something completely different.
12 writers that didn't get credited.
Including Bella Thorne as well.
But am I right? How do you even pitch this movie? This is definitely high concept. You go in there and you go, all right, here's what happened. 10 years ago, the Hadron Collider explodes. It kills thousands of people, but we see them wandering around as ghosts and everything. And the guy's like, wow, okay, that sounds like a great movie. No, that's not the movie. That's just the background of the movie.
That's like the B plot. Really, it's about this teenage girl. Man.
Bella Thorne. Oh, okay, here you go.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she was like, I know her from being a Disney star of a very bad Disney show with her and Zendaya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, when you look at her credits, she's got a ton of video credits with Zendaya.
Yep,
so.
that would be from what that period of time is. Where Zendaya, it's like about two girls who know how to dance, but Zendaya can and she really can't, and it's very obvious and it's very sad.
Well, you know what? She's very pretty.
She is extremely pretty, and actually she does
a black wig in this.
Oh,
she didn't even go far enough to just dye her hair fucking black.
Weird.
So, I mean, it's an obvious wig. It's like, okay.
Ginger snaps sort of thing there.
Didn't offer her enough money to spend 6 months with black hair.
Probably not if she was like going to be doing something like Babysitter or, or Scream or whatever. Man, weird.
That was my movie.
I love the sound of it. I'm really sad. I don't want to be in that much pain.
As I was sitting there with the fan blowing ice at my crotch in my underwear, sweating, drinking my white wine, all I could think of was, I bet you fucking Vanessa would love this.
We like some of the same films.
Just made me
of that.
angrier.
We often enjoy similar movies, Kelly. You have to acknowledge that sometimes.
Fuck, who's picking next?
Oh my gosh.
Who is picking next? See, you?
Oh shit.
Or is it? I think it's you, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't. You would be better at explaining my topic.
Oh, the one for Micah?
Yeah.
All right.
Charles Band movies.
Yes. So I am just going to go ahead and honor Micah's request that we seek out and discuss Charles Band movies. But I think we should each choose a separate one and talk about it as our main episode rather than just discussing one at the top.
I'd like to add another wrinkle to it.
Okay.
He can't be just a producer of it.
What does that mean?
I mean, he's directed 68 movies or something.
Oh, okay, so it has to be a directed.
I think that he's got to have a hand in the creation of this film, not just
director, writer,
not just
something
threw
like
money at it.
Not just a Roger Corman. So director or writer.
Director or writer is fine with me.
What if his, because part of the impetus of this was the terrible movie or the terrible song that his
brother, yeah.
What if it has songs from his brother?
Yeah, would that count?
Well, I would say that's a bonus, but I don't think that counts as
bonus points if you get whatever I could go back and look, but whatever that song was, if that one appears in your movie, well done.
Holy cow.
I like this idea.
Yeah, me too. Especially since we've kind of met Charles. Well, we have met Charles Band, and we'll have a story or two about him when we do this episode.
Oh, are we just putting it right out there that we don't want to work with him?
Well, I figured we'd wait till the episode to let everybody know.
Just saying, the story we tell is not exactly a positive one.
Nope.
I'm really looking forward to this. I cannot wait to hear your guys' one-on-one with Mr. Band.
And because Micah had suggested something like a flirt with Kurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps this one will be bandied about or something like that. What do you think of that, Micah?
I'm gonna let you guys have that. I want nothing to do with it.
I'm gonna let you have that.
I'm just gonna step away. This is no longer. I don't want any responsibility for what happens next week.
All right, you guys, I got to wring my balls out. So
you have mentioned your balls so many times in this episode.
They get very hot and sweaty in these kind of things.
Yeah,
I get it. Okay, but we don't have to talk about it.
Would you like physical descriptions?
No.
The next topic is going to be
I want to go
Kelly's
home.
balls.
I want to go home. Let me leave.
Thank you to everyone who's participating in the Value for Value. That is, I mean, beyond our wildest expectations, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And Bob sending whiskey is like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You know?
So good.
Thank God
Yes.
somebody finally figured out that whiskey has a value.
We have incredible fans.
We really do.
Incredible listeners.
You're all awesome. You just listen. If you listen every week or something like that, you don't show up on Facebook or anything like that. Thanks for listening.
Seriously.
That's,
all those people in Texas.
Yeah. That was weird. But yes, so no matter how you participate in this, glad you like it.
Yes, absolutely. And then we will be back next week with more ball talk.
No.
Balls.
No.
Balls.
Our show is recorded somewhere high above Naval Station Everett at the nexus of all realities and is engineered and produced by Eric Margaret. Our theme music is Strange Aeons Part 1 by the band Nightshade and is used with permission. Find Strange Aeons Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and wherever fine podcasts are found.
You have mentioned your balls so many times in this episode.